So let's get started highlighting what we do best. Our community thrives on tourism, and every year we have tens of thousands of winter visitors that come here. And it's good not to run away from that. That's how we started. We'll always welcome them. And they do a lot of things we don't even know about. You know, it's 7:30 right now. Do you know where your snowbirds are? No. So, and people come from all around the valley to come out here to visit us. And our signature events like the Renaissance Festival, which just started, 250,000 people visit that a year. And we all know about Lost Dutchman Days and Festival of the Superstitions. But do you know about all the other things we can do, like visiting the lakes? We have a whole chain of lakes here. People think there's no water in Arizona. And you can go tubing, Salt River tubing. We're very close to that. In April, the flowers bloom. There's a whole cadre of tourists that just come out to the base of the Superstitions to take pictures. And all of the Palo Verdes bloom. And horse riding. Us, along with Queen Creek, two of the only cities left that still welcome horses into their community. So we're so glad that we still have them. The Goldfield Ghost Town started from nothing, and look at it, look how it's awesome up there. And another 250,000 people a year visit that, which that's 500,000 people, which leads us to something that I've not gone completely public yet with, but we are working on an effort to possibly turn the Superstitions into a national monument, which would drive even more tourism out here. Not a national park, because that's not usable, but a national monument, everything would stay the same. And just think of the tourism opportunities there, and that might finally lead us to get that resort that we've always wanted. And we have Lost Dutchman State Park, which our residents helped to rescue not long ago. Not many years ago, there was a budget crisis. They were going to close it, and we would not let them close it. We just, such passion for that park. We have a theater in town. We have the Zal Theater. And they're award-winning. People come from all over the valley for that. Even more would come if they knew. Barlean's Dinner Theater, every bit as good as Branson. Such talented people there if you've never seen a show. And you get to eat while you're doing the show. How many cities have bull riding right in the city? There's, I think, Cave Creek and Apache Junction. It was in Florence. I don't know if they still do that. So. Silly Mountain. It used to just be a hill climb for off-road, and we repaired it, and now you never go by there when there's not 10 or 12 cars of people hiking up to the top. And once you get up to the top, such awesome photo opportunities. And in our Parks and Rec, we have leagues. We have softball leagues, which I used to be a fanatic. That's how I came to here, is just to play softball dang near. And then we have youth leagues and pickleball. Pickleball's still growing. You can't put in anything now unless you put in a pickleball court. And at our multi-gen, not only is there a track, but you have the climbing wall, which kids like to do. And no one's ever got hurt on it, I don't think. And in our library, we have the castle. And just our library, period. We have one of the best libraries in the whole state. And this coming weekend, I'll have the privilege of starting some of the short races at our award-winning Lost Dutchman Marathon. People from not only the whole country, but the whole world come out to run through these views. And it's a qualifier for the Boston Marathon. And we're going to have good weather this year. Every now and then we get flooded out, but it's going to be awesome weather. And people come and they just really marvel at the views. And how about sports right here at the high school? If you want some free entertainment almost. Our football team's been awesome. We won the state in baseball. And Little League, if you want to really see sports at its finest, come out in the spring and watch the Little League games. The passion that those kids have, it's amazing. So there's hundreds of things to do. We have more events we've even added with our new Flatiron Park. The Brews and Blues Festival, capacity crowds down there, and world-class music. We just recently had a John Denver tribute concert went well better than we thought. So we think next year it'll be even bigger. And over at Horizon, they started out as the Bluegrass Festival, but it's just turned into the AJ Music Festival, a lot of local artists. Also at Horizon, we have the Earth Day Ladybug event. I don't think we have a slide of that though, but that comes up in the spring. And this year, you've got to see Mishka, she's got a special costume for that. Coming up in 2022, I mentioned this a little last year, we will be having our Founders Day celebration. Not being a city, but in 1922 is when George Cleveland Curtis dropped stakes about where Dirtwater Springs was and started Apache Junction, and there was a fight over naming it Apache Junction, and that was the start of this whole area. And then of course we incorporated in 1976, so look for that coming soon as well. And all of these events, these are the first impression a lot of people get. They don't come out to see the city or to see whatever. They come to one of our events, which is why our Parks and Recreation, they're actually the face of Apache Junction, and we're so proud of the job they do and all the things they do. So let's watch a little video now about some of these events that our excellent videographer, Matt McDulty, who's up in the booth up there, and let's watch this video.
The city events, the partnered events, or just any we can think of? Any you can think of. Oh, woo! Okay, that's a big list.
Let me think, because we have Festival of the Superstition.
Okay, events to be named. Lost Dutchman Marathon,
The 4th of July.
Veterans Day Parade.
the Easter Egg Hunt, Lost Dutchman Days,
Our Halloween event.
The Mud Run.
Festival of Superstitions.
We have several runs that I don't run unless something's chasing me.
I don't think anybody can name all the events because things are going on all year.
We get a lot of help. From a lot of donations and sponsors, and that really goes a long way with this community.
It truly takes the whole community to put on those events between the service organizations, with the city's partnership and what funding we do have available.
The city has limited resources, and so we really do rely on all the volunteers that come in and serve the community and serve our citizens.
We also try very hard to add as much as we can from our budget to make these events as spectacular as possible.
We have great collaboration with businesses and organizations in our community, and that is really how we're able to have so many different events.
I think it's because we have so many volunteers and such an awesome staff. Just take, for example, the marathon. That group is so well-oiled and efficient, and the marathon is a world-class event.
Lost Dutchman Days is like the old hometown rodeos. We have lots of participants. We have everything that the big rodeos have, but we have a setting out here with the Superstition Mountain that is hands down unequaled to in any rodeo throughout the state. Almost like it's a natural event. It feels like it's supposed to be here.
The Festival of the Superstition is an exhibit of all of the businesses in our community and those things which those businesses can offer you. It is also an eating fest, which is good for everybody, and it's another way to meet your neighbor, meet your business, learn more about them.
An event that I would really love to bring to Apache Junction is a hot air balloon festival. This is something I would love to have happen here in Apache Junction.
Yeah, there is one event that we would really like to bring in, a outhouse races, hopefully in conjunction with the Festival of the Superstitions in this next fall.
I would love to have a Palo Verde festival here. It doesn't happen anyplace else. This is a spectacular site that I think has been tremendously overlooked here.
An event I'd like to see come to Apache Junction for in the future is called the Burro Race. It's taken off from some of the activities in Colorado.
Another event that I would love to see us do is a chocolate festival. Many of the cities around us host chocolate festivals. They're wonderful for anybody who likes chocolate and anybody who doesn't.
We're developing our canine dog park, and I look forward to having events there. Maybe certain types of shows or training. This community we love our animals more than any community in the valley also. I hate to keep bragging like that, but we really love our animals out here. And Mishka loves it here too. She's been looking forward to this park.
I think Superior already has a burro races, so we have to have another one. We don't want to steal theirs. And we know there's a lot of great things happening, other things happening in town also. We recently had more than 100 people come out for Make a Difference Day on something that we've been working on for years, is to beautify the medians. And we're going to hear more about that in the next video. We have new development in the city. We have 179 new homes being built by Lennar Homes right now. I don't know, did Todd Scoro make it out? No. Yes, he is. Thank you, Todd. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the capabilities of that in the future, too. We have new restaurants. We have Dutch Bros, as you can see, has gone vertical. And Panda Express just opened the Fresh Press Burger, handmade. AJ Sports Grill reopened to rave reviews, and where Scuttlebutts was, we'll soon have a new Vietnamese restaurant. As I mentioned in the video, the dog park, we're hoping to break ground on it this year. It's not possible, but that is definitely coming. And you've probably seen new wayfinding signs in our downtown. We've just gone through our new CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, Denise Hart, has just finished up her first year. So thank you, Denise. Some other things on the horizon to be ready for is the census. This is really important. I think the last time the census was done, we were under 35,000 people. We know that we're over 40,000 now. We don't want Queen Creek to get too much bigger than us, but they are right now. But it's real important because of funding from the state and the feds. They base that on your population. So it's great we need to really get an accurate count on that, and that'll be starting soon. A recent article states that in the Phoenix Valley, by the year 2030, there will be 1 million new residents. And they think that they're mostly going to be in the East Valley, more than half of them. So a lot of that might be in our 6,600 acres that we are about to annex. Down south, it's going to be from Meridian down to where the 24 is going to come across, all the way over to the CAP canal. And that land is expected to be auctioned off and will probably be bought by a developer and to build homes. And there's also aspects in there for industrial and a lot of things that might tie into the airport. The general plan, the council just approved the general plan that goes all the way out to 2050. And we're going to hear about that a little bit in the next video as well. And there's also amazing progress happening at Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport. And we have Brian O'Neill, the director, is here with us tonight. I had the privilege of serving as the chair of that for the past year, and really a lot of interesting things and great things happening there. We just had 1.8 million flyers flew in and out of that airport in the last year, way up. And the Skybridge project, which there's a video out there on that if you Google it, about what it does. It is like a port. They have the customs to fly right into Mexico for shipping. And that's where, instead of us buying everything from Mexico, we're shipping into Mexico. And not only from that, but everything else that's going on around the airport, we expect that there'll be 20,000 jobs added in the next several years. And a lot of them will live in Apache Junction and shop here. On tourism, not everything was good news in the last year. With the terrible rains we had last summer, the Apache Trail, State Route 88, it kind of collapsed on Fish Creek Hill. It could take years to rebuild that. We had a meeting out here with ADOT. We had a lot of the big players in this whole area. And what we know is they're going to fix the road up to Fish Creek from our side and from the Roosevelt Lake side, but they're not going to be able to do Fish Creek Hill yet. I believe Kelly Townsend just introduced legislation to try to get $10 million to get that repaired. So thank you, Kelly. And the city, we just created a new commission, the Arts Commission, to try to do more public art around town at new development in the medians, like with our Kachina. And then they did their first chore last week, where they chose the logo for the centennial that's coming up, and it's very beautiful. In big news for Apache Junction via Pinal County, the half-cent sales tax that we passed several years ago now, it finally won in courts, in the appellate court. That money, unless it gets appealed, should go through. We'll then be able to start the north-south interconnect, which is going to be at about Silly Mountain, Mountain View Road, which will go down to connect to Florence, and it'll hit the 24. The 24 will come over. You can just imagine the possibilities that are going to happen there. And the 24 will break ground to come across to Ironwood. That will definitely happen this year, and they'll start constructing that. So let's get an update on some of those and some other things on our next video that Matt has prepared for us.
As you've seen from the earlier video, there's plenty of things going on in Apache Junction all the time. But what really stood out in 2019? Well, let's start with two very big announcements from a couple of our big partners, the Arizona State Land Department and the Arizona Department of Transportation. In July 2019, the State Land Department let us know that we can move forward on the annexation of 6,600 plus acres south of where the water and sewer district currently are, and it goes all the way up to where the State Route 24 will meet the city of Apache Junction. So now the city gets ready for the next steps. There's still a couple things that have to be done before an auction takes place where developers actually look at this land to try to develop it. The city will have to do some documentation, some paperwork that has to go to the State Land Department, and then it becomes part of the incorporated city of Apache Junction. So the city knows that eventual development is going to be going south of Baseline Road. So this particular area was chosen because there is more development going on all around it, and the City of Apache Junction is poised to take advantage of just that.
The State Route 24 is meant to be a controlled access highway, bringing traffic from the Southeast Valley east to the northwest part of Pinal County, and specifically for us, the City of Apache Junction. So the first phase of State Route 24 was a 1-mile freeway extension from the Loop 202 Santan Freeway in the Southeast Valley, heading southeast to pretty close to Ellsworth Road. Phase 2 of the State Route 24 is a 5-mile extension from where it ends near Ellsworth Road right now and heads southeast and then easterly towards Ironwood Drive. So ADOT will be constructing an interim condition of the Phase 2 extension of the State Route 24. And what this means is they will be constructing 2 general purpose lanes in each direction, and they will use the on and off ramps as the east and west through lanes at these intersections. The only overpass that will be built at this point in time is at Ellsworth Road. Ultimately, ADOT will expand these general purpose lanes to include a 3rd general purpose lane, an auxiliary lane, and an HOV lane. And this will happen as ADOT does a complete build-out of each traffic interchange. A traffic interchange is where the Gateway Freeway intersects major arterial roadways. So when the interim Phase 2 is complete, what we will see here near Apache Junction is similar to what you see at Ellsworth Road and the end of the current State Route 24. You will see an off-ramp, you will see an on-ramp. These intersections will function as any typical signalized intersection, allowing vehicles to go to the north and to the south. Right now, the City of Apache Junction is a stakeholder partner in this project, so we don't necessarily have a very active voice, but because of its proximity to our city, we are definitely very interested in the planning and construction of this freeway. Currently, the project is under design, and the plans are about 75% complete. The plans will be complete later this summer of this year, and in late summer and early fall of this year, ADOT will put the project out to bid and ultimately award the construction of the project to a contractor. Construction will begin later in the fall of this year, and the duration of the construction will last approximately 2 years and be complete in the fall of 2022. The State Route 24 Gateway Freeway will definitely help in reducing the congestion that we see on Ironwood Drive during the rush hour times in the morning and the evening.
So the annexation of state land and the development of State Route 24 south of the city are both coming. We should see some really big developments in 2020 and in 2021. And speaking of big developments, there's something that you will want to stand up and cheer about, or maybe even bark. Parks Director Liz Langenbach tells us why.
The dog park is a major amenity that we are asked on a regular basis, when are we going to get one? There is a dog park in almost every municipality throughout the valley. So the dog park has been an idea and a vision for a really long time. Our former Parks and Recreation Director, Jeff Bell, had worked with the community many years ago in the early 2000s to explore different locations for a dog park and developed actually a lot of designs and plans for a dog park at Prospector Park as well as Silly Mountain. Unfortunately, when the economy downturned in the 2008-2009 timeframe, we were unable to actually move forward and bring those to fruition. Recently, in the last few years, we have reinvigorated that project. We worked closely with ASU Project Cities in the process for determining what would be our next steps for a dog park in our community. They came out and visited multiple sites throughout the community that we had identified as potential locations, but they also went out and looked to see if there were some other alternatives that we hadn't thought of. They came back and provided a report to us and to the City Council that gave some recommendations on several different things. Where we would have the ideal location, some of the different amenities that would be the most desirable, and then what are some of the practices and procedures that would be best for our dog park to make sure that it was safe and secure. Our Parks and Recreation Commission spent a lot of time reviewing some of the different locations for a dog park at this point in time, as well as what were the amenities and what were some of the different things that the community, as well as many of our different research groups, had provided to them. Certainly the Prospector Park and the Silly Mountain location, unfortunately those ones are at such a high cost that we really were looking for some other locations that might be a little bit more affordable and something that we could turn around in the near future. The final recommendation of the Parks and Recreation Commission was to go ahead and design and develop the dog park at the Pinal County Complex on Idaho and Superstition. It's a great location with a lot of mature trees, a lot of infrastructure that's already in place that would be ideal and certainly be most cost-effective for returning a dog park in the near future. So there are a few things that we ask that you keep in mind as we move forward in this project. First and foremost is that it is most likely a very phased project. So funding is certainly a consideration that we are working on right now. And if we don't have the full funding, we want to keep moving. We want to keep the momentum going. So we have worked on adding solar lighting into our project, something that could be done in a second phase. So by bringing solar lighting, first of all, it's going to be a more green infrastructure and be much more cost efficient in the long run for operations. But it's also something that we can add after the park has already been built, if that's necessary. If we raise all of the money, then great, we'll put it all in at once. If not, it'll be a great addition to have, so that way we can have that park and operating. It might just be closed during the evening hours until we can get the full funding for all of the lighting. The other part that we really want people to keep in mind is that it's up to our community to make this park happen. We are going to rely heavily on community volunteers to help maintain the park. It's certainly going to be an operational challenge at some different moments in time, both from a maintenance perspective as well as from an enforcement of the rules perspective. And we're definitely going to be asking you and the community to be helping us out on that.
So at a city council meeting in June of 2019, the council directed staff to move forward on the development of a dog park in the city of Apache Junction, the first one the city has seen, and it is going to be beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, have you seen the changes on the median on Apache Trail? Well, more than 100 volunteers made that happen during Make a Difference Day back in October.
My name is Fox Young. I work for the city of Apache Junction. And very excited to be out here, especially at the Make a Difference Day that we're hosting with the city, the Apache Junction Community Development Corporation, and several city partners. This event was brought to you by the Apache Junction Community Development Corporation, and they've been around for about 7 or 8 years, but we just ended up reforming the organization, getting a new board of directors in, and they've taken the lead in doing a lot of community projects, cleanup projects around the city, different neighborhoods, and they spearheaded the Make a Difference Day event that we're having here today, where we have over 100 volunteers that are going around and doing various projects. We're doing the median projects, which is the tree planting, the beautification project around the city. And then Think Desert, which is at Flatiron Park, and they're doing some work on the trails, putting in some benches, and doing some planting there as well.
This is the first Make a Difference Day, which is a national program that we're participating in. This time we have 3 city projects that we're helping to complete outside in our medians, and we also finally received 3 different home requests from elderly. Need help with their weeds, need help with just general cleanup. So we have
3 crews out now doing that. We've had over 100 participants, so that's a great number for a first-time event.
After this event, we're expecting to make it an annual event, so look for us next October, November. And for more information about the Make a Difference Day, you can go to ApacheJunctionCDC.com. That's the webpage, and it's going to have a lot of information, not just about Make a Difference Day, but other resources around the city.
We've said it before and we'll say it again. When this community is asked, it delivers. And we asked the community to deliver in 2019 the general plan. Larry Kirch, the Director of Development Services for the city, explains all about what a general plan is.
The general plan is really a long-range visioning document, a blueprint for where the city thinks it should be 10, 20, 30 years from now. The general plan is formulated through a variety of data collection sources. They include the U.S. Census, which we look at the decennial census. We look at population projections that we get through the Maricopa Association of Governments. The city, over the last 6 years, I believe, has been doing community surveys. We also looked at that data to show how people feel about the city of Apache Junction and how that information could formulate the plan. We also produced a survey that we put out online, and we took it out to the public as well. We took it to the Lost Dutchman Marathon open house. We also took it to the Blues and Brews Festival. So we tried to get out to the public, have them fill out the survey either online or a paper version. So all told, we had over 1,300 responses to the community survey. So we've been working on this document, this planning document, for over a year. And so we're coming to the culmination where we have a document that is really 95, 99% done. We've sent it out. There's a 60-day required process where we send the document out to our neighboring municipalities and the state land department, federal agencies to get feedback and input. So that 60 days has wound down. The plan will then, in February, we have to essentially prepare it as just like we did with Home Rule. We have 7 or 8 months where we have to prepare a publication, the publicity pamphlet, etc., through the city clerk's office and get it on the ballot August 4th of 2020.
As Larry said, there's still one more thing we need you to do, and that's to come out and vote in August. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, everyone. Right back to you, Mayor.
So could you guys all understand Al okay? He went to U of A, so he's overachieving. So as we wind down, my past 3 years as mayor, we've done so much. And one of the things we are still working with BLM to try to get more allowable uses up at the rodeo grounds and to hopefully someday take ownership of that. Just imagine that, that rodeo grounds being used up there every weekend in the winter. Now, this is my last year, and you know, the state of the city is in February. So odds are we're gonna have a new mayor next year, and the odds are they could be sitting out in the audience tonight. So we've already chosen next year's theme that we're gonna do. Remember how we talked about Lennar Homes is building 179 homes. And we're already getting questions about, do you have water for that? I'm telling you, we've got water. You can add 2, maybe 3 zeros to the end of that. We're sitting better water-wise and sewer-wise than almost anybody in the valley. So next year's State of the City will be all about how are we poised to handle the 6,600 new acres and beyond that. So it's going to be exciting, and we're going to have the CAP will be involved, the SRP, Arizona Water, our water district, and the sewer department will be telling you just how that's all going to happen down there. And we don't even really need to drill new wells. We have other alternatives, so that's very exciting. So I want to thank you for allowing me to serve these past 3 years. It's definitely been an adventure. I want to thank Dr. Anderson for letting us use this fine facility once again. I want to thank the ROTC for the colors, and Brown Bear Barbecue for the food, and Matt for working on these videos. This is not something you do in a week. Like I said, it takes basically all year. We're already working next year on next year's State of the City. So I want to thank all the city employees who make this all happen, and want to have a great night, and we'll see you all down the Apache Trail. Okay?